Hey everyone, Dan Geltrude here, and welcome back to Token Money Magnet on WION World is One, the only show where you become an active part of the experience. If you're just joining us, here's something amazing. While you're learning about tokenization through our episodes and completing daily quests, you're collecting tokens that give you actual ownership in the show. Imagine that, a show where your engagement makes you a real stakeholder. So if you haven't done it already, scan that QR code and start claiming your tokens.
Welcome to the Token Money Magnet mobile app. Getting started is simple. This is your dashboard. Here you can explore a list of episodes from our groundbreaking series, Token Money Magnet. Click on View Tasks under any episode to see the tasks aligned with it. To claim tokens, you need to link your social media accounts like Twitter, X, and YouTube. You can now start completing tasks. For every task you complete, points will be automatically credited to your wallet. Curious to see who's leading the race? Head over to the leaderboard section. Simply click on Watch Episode to enjoy exclusive content. Scan the QR code to download the app now and claim your tokens.
Today, we're tackling the elephant in the room, regulations. Now, I know what you're thinking. Dan, regulations, really? That sounds about as exciting as watching paint dry. But here's the thing. Regulations are the backbone of trust and innovation in tokenization. Without them, the entire system would fall apart. Last year, Europe rolled out critical legislation, MiCA and DORA together. These laws aim to create a safer and more regulated digital finance environment within the European Union. Dubai created VARA, a digital asset regulator that helps innovators, and Singapore's MAS is balancing Web3 innovation with user protection. Meanwhile, the US and the Global Financial Action Task Force are tightening rules to prevent criminals from exploiting digital tools. So what these regulations really boil down to is this: making sure that the evolving digital world around us is exciting and safe.
The tokenization race is on. Some countries are sprinting ahead, while others stumble at the starting line. Welcome to Token Money Magnet. Let's map the global regulatory landscape reshaping digital assets right now. In Europe, MiCA leads the race with clear crypto rules. Dubai's VARA is building a regulatory paradise for blockchain. Singapore's MAS is balancing innovation with security. Meanwhile, the US is still at the starting line, figuring out its next move. Clear rules mean confident investors and thriving markets. Regulatory confusion, that means capital flight and missed opportunities. The right jurisdiction could make all the difference for your investment future. Token Money Magnet. Navigate the regulatory maze and unlock your financial potential.
So today we have two distinguished experts. So first we have Tapan Sangal, the architect behind Kalp, a compliance-first blockchain ecosystem, bringing 3 decades of experience in legal and regulatory tech to our discussion. Next, we have Edwin Mata, CEO and co-founder of Brickken. Edwin is revolutionizing asset tokenization by making it accessible to businesses. So, Tapan, starting with you first. As the blockchain ecosystem evolves, the concept of tokenizing real-world assets has gained traction and fundamentally changed how we think about asset ownership and management. So what are the key shifts in the mindset required to embrace this new paradigm compared to traditional methods?
Thank you, Dan. I think it's a great starting point. So let me break this shift into 3 parts. First part, so when we are tokenizing the real world assets, we are actually tokenizing the rights in the assets. Right to own, right to possess, right to transfer, right to mortgage, right to even get the incomes that are generated out of these assets. But see, these rights in the real world are actually on paper. They are documented. However, when we transfer them in the digital world, these rights are there in the form of code, typically a smart contract as we call it. And so we need to, in our mind, understand that what we are doing is actually, the word that I love to say is de-documentification of the rights. So that's shift number one. Number two is, see, we have digitized the rights. However, the asset that remains in the real world, what's happening to that asset? How do we make sure that that asset is maintained properly, that asset is being looked after? So that's the second part while we are talking about tokenization of a real world asset that we need to keep in mind. And third, which is last but not the least, is that, when we are doing tokenization, that doesn't mean that we are going to disrupt the existing laws. So when we are talking about a real world assets, all the regulations, all the rules qua a particular asset are already in existence. Those rules are there, they are sectoral rules, they are geographical rules qua a particular asset. So those rules are not changing when we are tokenizing a particular asset.
Yeah, I don't think that we could minimize how important these regulations are. So Edwin, to you. So here's the question. How are companies going to navigate these varying regulations across countries, because there's a lot of them. You have VARA in Dubai, MICA in Europe, and more. So what works in the EU may not fly in Asia. So how are businesses managing to operate globally amidst such a diverse regulatory framework?
I mean, in that sense, that was perfectly explained before. When you're dealing with securities, there's already a regulation on top of it. And then it came tokenization, which is just a new digital format on top of it. So how do you navigate everything? It's basically the same way that it was navigated before. It's still slow. The regulations that we have are not applicable to how fast digitization and everything has happened. And that's a problem, because that's how everything becomes a nuisance. We all used to how order books were, brokers and all these intermediaries were, but now suddenly everything can be directly from the issuer to the investor. And that's just kind of like radically changes everything that we have known on the legality point of view or how securities were working. So navigated through all of these regulations from country to country, it's very hard, it's very expensive, and as such, that's kind of like the baby steps that we're taking. But hey, at least we're taking baby steps, and at least we're having conversations around tokenization. A couple of years ago, all of these seemed like sci-fi and undoable, but now this new tendency for tokenizing digital assets, tokenizing real world assets, financial instruments, it's happening, and the big players are jumping in. So I think the positive is that we are starting. It's going to be a slow process. Regulation is very cumbersome, but the best thing that can happen is that we are starting. So just to end up with the positive note is that today is definitely better than yesterday, and tomorrow will definitely be better than today, no doubt.
Well, that's definitely a positive spin to put on it. And let me just follow up for a second here, Edwin, and ask you, what specific role do you believe that regulators should be playing with this emerging technology?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just because of new tech does not mean that it's done for the bad players. Right now, we've seen a couple of launches on the meme side with political figures doing it that it has affected, and it's us, the builders, still have to recover what we have been building for years, right? And it's like, this is a technology for the good, kind of like every single technology. There's good players and bad players. But this is a technology of opportunity because we're decentralizing a lot of the financial sector and allowing small players, retail, in countries that had never imagined to start playing in capital markets or start allocating funds in financial instruments they never could have a choice or never had the opportunity. So this technology is actually of opportunity.
Very interesting. So, Tapan, let me go over to you on this next one. So, regulatory sandboxes are being adopted worldwide to foster Web3 innovation. Now, how do you view the effectiveness of these international sandboxes in helping startups navigate complex blockchain regulations?
It's a very interesting question. To address this question, I'd like to first talk about, what is the mandate that regulators have? The mandate with the regulators is the protection of the investors and not actually promoting the innovation. However, having said that, there comes an innovation which even the regulators are accepting, and they are wanting that this innovation they would want to test, and hence they are creating a secured environment where they are giving access to various data. They don't want to interrupt or disrupt the existing systems which are playing, and they are providing this opportunity to all these startups. So whatever Edwin said, I'm totally in agreement with Edwin that here is a technology that you cannot avoid. Here is a technology that everybody is taking a pause and looking at, and hence there are some mature environments and there are some not so very mature environments. And when they are talking about this new kind of technology which is bringing that element of immutability, that element of transparency, so they are wanting to adopt this technology. However, if I can just take a step, and when we are talking about tokenization, we need to keep in mind that tokenization, the first low-hanging fruits were the financial assets getting tokenized because they were in any case in their digital form. And now we hear stories about tokenizing the existing stocks. People are talking about tokenizing the bonds. People are talking about tokenizing even the debts, even the mortgages. All of that is one side. Another aspect is that as I mentioned, the regulations are already in place, the systems are already in place. So the governments world over are opening up these sandboxes where they are giving chances for these various kind of applications which are being developed on this technology which is called blockchain.
What is a regulatory sandbox? Imagine a playground where tech companies can test wild ideas without getting in trouble. That's a regulatory sandbox. Welcome to Token Money Magnet. Let's break down how these special testing zones are changing the future of finance. Think of it like a try before you buy zone. Companies test their blockchain and crypto ideas with real customers, but with training wheels and safety nets. Regulators watch but don't shut them down for minor mistakes. From London to Singapore, these test zones have helped create apps you might already use. They keep you safe while letting companies experiment with better ways to handle your money. The result? Better apps, faster innovation, and safer products for everyone. Regulatory sandboxes, where tomorrow's financial apps are being built today. Token Money Magnet, simplifying finance for all.
And so, Tapan, let me ask you too. What infrastructure elements are essential for maintaining the connection between tokenized rights and their underlying real-world assets?
As I said, all the rules and regulations in the real-world asset are already in existence. So while we have tokenized the rights and the token holders have the rights, but what is happening to this this particular asset, because that asset exists in the real world. So from a point of view of infrastructure, there has to be an infrastructure in terms of custodial services for these assets. And I'm talking about when we talk about tokenizing gold or tokenizing commodities, these movable assets need to be logged in a secured custody. So that's I would say infrastructure number one. Infrastructure number two, which is very important, is when we are tokenizing rights in the digital world. But then these rights need to be enforced in the real world. And how do you enforce those rights in the real world is again a question, because what we are working on a couple of structures where trusted third parties like a trustee who becomes the custodian of the rights of the token holders come into existence. And so that becomes a very important aspect of tokenization. And then we can also talk about tokenizing the IP rights. We are actually tokenizing all these episodes of Token Money Magnet, and there is a whole amount of infrastructure that is going on into this. It's not some meme coin which has been just minted and distributed. The IP that we are creating through these episodes, those IPs need to be tied through some kind of a legal engineering that is already in place, and then tokens are to be issued so that the ownership of these IP rights that we are creating. So if IP is an asset, if these episodes are an asset, they need to first go through this entire exercise of legal engineering before they become tokenizable. Then they get tokenized, and then these tokens are transferred to the token holders, and then they become the owners, and the whole aspect of that has to be part of this infrastructure.
Welcome to the Token Money Magnet mobile app. Getting started is simple. This is your dashboard. Here you can explore a list of episodes from our groundbreaking series, Token Money Magnet. Click on View Tasks under any episode to see the tasks aligned with it. To claim tokens, you need to link your social media accounts like Twitter, X, and YouTube. You can now start completing tasks. For every task you complete, points will be automatically credited to your wallet. Curious to see who's leading the race? Head over to the leaderboard section. Simply click on Watch Episode to enjoy exclusive content. Scan the QR code to download the app now and claim your tokens.
So Edwin, let me ask you, we've seen some major blockchain operations like FTX collapse. I'd like to ask you, what new protections are being put in place to safeguard investors and prevent similar situations from that occurring again?
Yeah, so I think they haven't really done that much because the regulations were already in place, right? I mean, if you're trying to create mass fraud, you already fall into something. Funny thing, it was since they were saying it was that utility tokens collapse or whatnot, it wouldn't reach them. And it's not fraud, is fraud. I mean, regardless of the asset, underlying asset, it can be a hard asset, it can be a financial asset or anything. I mean, if you scam people and you already have the regulations in place in various countries to protect the retail investors. Because as it was previously said, the job of the regulator is to protect the minority. I mean, one thing is that they do it actively and they fully accomplish that goal, but all regulations in place is to protect the asymmetric, the party with the least information. One thing is that it's not perfected through a case law or a regulation that might come in the later point of view, but everything already has a regulation that is applicable to.
Now let me just follow up with you, Edwin, and ask you this. If something goes wrong with my tokens in 2025, who do I call? What legal recourse do token holders have?
Yeah, I think we're gonna see how that works, because with the Luna there was a lot of law firms across the globe saying, hey, let's do a class action, let's get all those investors and over here, but I'm only gonna take care of this region because that's the only where I can go. So the United States did their own class action and whatnot. With the Libra, we know there's a lot of already law firms applying that. In Argentina, they're already gonna try to create a class action and all that. So what I'm saying is that unfortunately there's not like an international body, but I mean, to get to that level, no, we're not there yet. But the important thing is that countries, they should start communicating better between them when these things happen, because in the end, if we establish that there's a governing body and regulators trying to protect the individual or the retail, Then when this sort thing happens, there should be already like an action plan, because this is how fraud and all these bad players get away with it. So with the cause and effect is we need to make a stop. There's got to be somewhere that we have to stop, because this is not innovation anymore. This is pure gambling. This is perversion. It has gone way overboard. And we cannot say that all are the same, because on the other side, we have the builders like myself.
So Tapan, let me ask you, how can regulators and innovators work together to create a regulatory environment that allows for the seamless movement of rights between the digital and real worlds while mitigating the risks associated with tokenization?
So I would start from the side of a developer who's developing, like in our case, we've developed our blockchain, which we call regulated by design. So the regulators need to create an environment where all these trusted third parties can easily be onboarded along with the developers, so that we have a seamless transfer of rights and execution of rights and enforcement of these rights throughout the journey of these tokens being transferred to the token holders.
So wow, what an eye-opening discussion about the future of digital finance. Our experts have made it clear that regulations aren't roadblocks, they're the guardrails making innovation safer for everyone. So I'd like to thank our guests for their insights. And before we wrap, don't forget to claim your Token Money Magnet tokens and become a real stakeholder in this show. Just scan that QR code and you're in. So until next time, this is Dan Geltrude reminding you that in the world of tokenization, knowledge isn't just power, it's profit. See you in our next episode.
Welcome to the Token Money Magnet mobile app. Getting started is simple. This is your dashboard. Here you can explore a list of episodes from our groundbreaking series, Token Money Magnet. Click on View Tasks under any episode to see the tasks aligned with it. To claim tokens, you need to link your social media accounts like Twitter, X, and YouTube. You can now start completing tasks. For every task you complete, points will be automatically credited to your wallet. Curious to see who's leading the race? Head over to the leaderboard section. Simply click on Watch Episode to enjoy exclusive content. Scan the QR code to download the app now and claim your tokens.